Welcome, everyone. My name is Devin Price, and this is the Talking Tech Podcast, where we showcase rising and thriving talent in tech and cybersecurity. A little bit about me. I've been in the tech and cybersecurity space for a little bit now, and within that time, I've had a heart for two sets of people that I've come across. Number one is people who are trying to get into tech or cybersecurity who clearly have the aptitude, clearly have the attitude, but just don't have a platform to really showcase and promote the value that they can add to an organization. And two are those people who are already in tech and cybersecurity who are killing it, doing great things, but just not enough people know about what they're up to. So that's really what I want this platform to be about, and where I'm going to concentrate my energies on just showcasing those two types of people. So that's just a little bit about the Talking Tech Podcast. So today on this episode, I have Andre, and Andre has a desire to be in tech. So before we get into it, I'm going to go ahead and read Andre's bio so everybody can know a little bit more about him. So here we go. Here is Andre's bio. At a young age, Andre was overwhelmed by curiosity, breaking apart TVs and toasters to shed light on all his how and what questions was a process his family slowly accepted. That curiosity spilled into his teens. He found himself studying people and how they think. His curiosity for wanting to understand people's needs and asking questions led him to his current desired career in solution selling. With over 15 years of sales experience and over 2 years of experience as a Zoom product expert, Andre is a highly skilled professional with an aptitude to meet revenue targets, drive maximum sales outputs, and foster business growth by understanding the client's needs and delivering simple but compelling product demos to prospects, customers, external stakeholders, and internal teams. So Andre, welcome to the show. How are you feeling?
Doing well. Thanks for having me, Devin. I appreciate it.
Awesome. No, I'm glad to have you on. So let's jump into it. So one of the things that when I was doing some research, it says in your profile, the kind of that first line of the bio that you were overwhelmed by curiosity at a young age, and you're constantly wanting to know the what and the how of everything. Is there like a specific story that you remember when you were, curious at, any job that you've been at so far about, hey, I'm curious about this? And, if so, what kind of happened? What did you, do about it to learn about whatever that area was that you didn't understand?
It's a good question. As it stated in my bio, I was tearing apart TVs and toasters at a young age. And technology has always been an interest of mine. I remember I was about, I want to say 9 years old, nine and a half. And he had now this is the old school TV with the knob, And so I literally took it completely apart, screen off, wires loose, everything disconnected. And after looking at the inner workings of what made what work, I actually put it back together and it worked again.
We call that reverse engineering.
Hey, man. So I thought that was phenomenal. Now, of course, like any other 9-year-old, I figured, well, shoot, I did it once. Let me try it again.
This was at 9?
This was at 9.
Wow.
It wasn't a good move to do it a second time, though, because I tried to put it back together and it didn't work the second time.
Yeah.
But that's what pushed my curiosity to say, well, what did I miss this time?
Yeah.
And I'm asking this at 9 and I'm thinking, well, what else could I get into? And I just wasn't really sure at that particular age how to navigate it. So my curiosity went into other areas, and
right.
I became a family matter expert in everything tech. How do you operate this app? How do you do this on this phone? How do you operate Zoom? So that's my interest, and I've loved it ever since. I started following Cyrus Harbin, who's a sales engineer and in the tech space, and he's been really open and encouraging. So it's been great.
That's awesome. No, I hear, Andre, more people than you think with their interest in tech. It really does kind of start with like, hey, they got their first computer, they got their first, type of technology, break it apart, try to figure out how does it work, try to put it back together, fail, try again. So that's a very common story. But I always like to ask, just kind of where that why and that curiosity comes from.
Absolutely.
The other thing, Andre, I'm curious about is that based on your ability, just going back to your bio,
Mhm.
talks about your ability to understand people's needs and ask questions. It's a no-brainer why you ended up in sales, because I think those two things of understanding people's needs, asking questions. I'm not in sales, but I could imagine those are critical to doing well in that field. And then
Absolutely.
we just talked about your desire at a young age to kind of break apart stuff and find out the what and why. That's the origin story for a lot of people in tech. So I'm surprised you didn't venture into tech sooner. What I guess finally made you decide to go into the tech space at this point in your career?
That's a good question. So, with my mom was really big into college, of course,
Yeah.
and she wanted me to go into the college space and major in something, get into
Yeah.
something. So, trying to navigate what that looked like for tech. I originally started in graphic design, then a
Oh.
little bit into computer animation,
Ooh.
and there was some interest there. There was some like there, but it just wasn't. It just didn't hit the mark exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so then I began to venture out into the sales arena because I was good at communicating with people,
Yep.
and I wasn't really sure how to connect my knack for interacting with people
Yeah.
with my love for tech
Mm.
until recently, where I was following Cyrus Harbin, and he does both.
Right.
And so that's why it's just now starting. As far as that goes, I've been following Cyrus for probably about close to a year now. And the sales engineer role, which is what I aspire to get into, allows me to build that relationship with clients, which was also why I was successful at SunTrust Bank, where I was able to not exactly sell people
Mm-hmm.
per se, but just understand their needs, genuinely care for them, trust them, allow them to get to know me.
Yeah.
And they brought me other people and referrals from that. So just having that side of it on the people end, connecting that with the tech side, with being able to explain something that's complex in nature
Yeah.
in a simple fashion where people can understand it, and acknowledge how that brings value to whatever pain point that they may have.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah. So I think I love how we started with the basically the reverse engineering of, hey, take it apart,
Right.
put it back together. And it sounds like that's kind of happened with your career of like, hey, I know I like tech. I know I can communicate well. I have these two pieces.
Yeah.
How do I put them together?
Right.
Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, no, I like that. And so I know you talked about in tech,
Mhm.
the role you're looking for is a sales engineer, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And I think we might have already covered this, but just so
Okay.
we're clear, what skills I think from your previous roles, you've been in sales. Um, I know you also did a little bit of business management roles. Um,
Yes.
what what skills from those two types of industries, do you think are going to really help you in tech? As you transition into that.
That's a great question. Um, One thing I learned long on or early in my career in sales is that people like to buy from people they know, like, and trust.
Yeah.
And so I have a great ability to quickly build rapport with people.
Mm.
I've learned that building rapport, like in my current role, I currently work at Progressive Insurance.
Hmm.
I work with attorneys where if someone gets hurt in a car accident, they get an attorney to represent them. The attorney contacts me to negotiate the settlement of their injury claim.
Right.
Okay. So I've had to learn how to build rapport with not just anyone, but attorneys.
Yeah.
So it's not exactly the same dynamic as just someone who's down the street or my next door neighbor.
Nope.
Even even though I've done that,
Yeah.
but it's a different dynamic. So being able to navigate the waters of how do you quickly build rapport, have that person know that you're there to help them. I am able to do that without hesitation. It's one of the reasons how I became the number one closer on my team.
Wow.
Why I was in the top 10% at my company selling products and services at Verizon Enterprises. Why I was the number one seller at SunTrust Bank. in tech, you still have to build that rapport. You still have to build long-term relationships. I can't stress that enough, actually, which is needed in tech as well to be successful over not a short period of time, but a long period of time. Also, to add to that, I have the ability to navigate extensive research, which I'm finding in sales, it's very important to know who your audience is, know who you're selling to. So you have to do your due diligence, right? You have to be able to understand who you're talking to, which requires research. So I'm able to navigate different avenues, different areas, different spaces of finding information, compiling into one place, and then taking that information to not necessarily use it as ammo per se,
Right.
but taking that information to be able to help the client know that, listen, what I have to offer is going to bring value to your company, and I'm the person to do that for you, and I'm here for the long haul. Let's make this partnership work. So I would say that's what works for me.
Yeah, no, I think you mentioned a lot there. I think the research is the previous thing you just said. That's major. I think if I could go back and teach anybody anything who's in school or in any type of boot camp right now, everything you're learning is essential. Knowing how to research is probably one of the ones, because nobody, and it took me a while, Andre, to understand this, nobody in this industry knows everything. Nobody. Sure. I think what sets probably, the pack from the people who are, I would say, the leaders, are they know where to look. They know where to go, and they know how to do that efficiently. And I think you also talked about, knowing how to build rapport with people. That's something that definitely within tech, I think you mentioned it, it attracts a lot of, I guess I would say, introverted people who are very analytical, very detail oriented, not always as strong, in the relationship aspect. So if you can basically, like you said, have that research, have that analytical, detail oriented mindset, but still be able to make a rapport with various different groups of people, you're going to do well, in this career field, because everybody, especially with tech, especially I think with sales, most of the time, and I think you probably, have experienced this, most of the time people want it simple. Like, help me explain, here's what I want.
Exactly.
Show me, that you can deliver with as little technical jargon as possible. Like,
right.
Help me understand. So those are very key. Just within tech. So that's great to hear.
Absolutely.
So I know that you're talking about with the sales engineer, and you're currently at Progressive right now. Are you outside of, I guess, Progressive? What are you doing? What have you been up to at all about learning how to be, a future sales engineer? Like, are you taking any classes? Are you doing anything kind of outside of work? Like, how are you kind of preparing for that opportunity?
Great question. I just successfully completed a sales engineer boot camp with a company called Careerist, which that was really fun. I got a chance to build a new community of friends in that area, as well as learn a lot of the fundamentals, of course, in tech, from cybersecurity to networking to, of course, the famous CRM platforms such as HubSpot, Salesforce, etc. So it was really an opportunity for me to shine. I also got a chance to do demos, demonstrating a particular product, which in my class I demoed Zoom. I had an opportunity to build out Zoom in a nonprofit organization that I was working for. So I got to do that demonstration, and I got some really good feedback. So I was excited with that. Also, I'm currently in a sales engineer internship, which I will be finishing next Monday. So I'm excited for that as well.
So the Monday after, I guess at this point, now that we're doing it, the Monday after Thanksgiving?
Yes, Monday after Thanksgiving. And what else am I doing? I'm trying to find and take any and all certifications I can get my hands on, because I'm really big on learning and growing. I believe in being teachable. I believe in, like you said earlier, just recognizing that no one knows it all. So being in that space of constantly learning is an ever opportunity for me. And one of the certifications I'm working on right now actually is in cybersecurity. It's a Network Security Associate 2 certification with Fortinet.
Yep.
So I'm excited for that. And yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
So, Andre, going back to the boot camp. So just
Sure.
so I'm clear and everybody's clear. So was it all classroom, or I think you said it was a mix of classroom and a mix of, practical application and kind of an internship setting. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. It is a mix of both. I had some classroom setting where there was teaching involved, the multiple teachers from different spaces within the sales engineering role, as well as within account executives and business development representatives as well. They all came and provided their knowledge and their experience. And then it was time for practice,
Right.
for the hands-on experience. So tell me what you learned. And we've had to be very vocal to uh, restate what was taught, but restate it in a simple manner. I couldn't
Right.
use the same verbiage they used. I had to put it in my own words in a simple fashion, because that's what I'm going to have to do
Yeah.
with clients as well. So it was very fun. Had an awesome time.
So, and just one more question on the boot camp. What would you
Sure.
say, I guess, out of everything like that you learned and did, what was probably like your favorite part,
Wow.
or
There was
favorite thing that you like to learn about, or favorite thing that you did?
So there was a lot that I liked, but I'd have to say the number one thing that I really enjoyed was the opportunity or the hands-on experience on how to talk to the customer and be able to handle their objections when they come. And I know that may sound a little weird. I mean, why would I like handling objections or anything? But
Yeah.
the reason why it was, I enjoyed it a lot is because when you have a customer and they have a quote unquote objection,
Yeah.
it's not necessarily something where they're saying they don't want what you have. It's just another way of them saying, I don't necessarily understand what you're trying to provide. Clarify it to me some more.
Right.
And so it allowed me to use the skills that I have to dig deeper into what those objections are, and not to necessarily take it personally, but to be able to uncover more and just dig deeper. And I'm happy to say I was successful in overcoming those objections by showing the value of what product I had in my practice, and being able to help them understand, like, listen, I'm not really here to sell your product. I'm here to help bring value to what you're already doing. You're doing a great job at your company. I'm here to help you to do it better.
Right. That's
So
a
great.
No, that's a great way of thinking it, because I feel like a lot of times, like when, really in tech, cybersecurity, I think like when people think sales, they think like somebody's trying to get over on them, like, hey,
Yeah.
buy my product. And I think what you said there is key, of like, hey, I'm here to provide value. Like,
Exactly.
what's your problem? Tell me what the issue is, and I can tell you, hey, our products, our service offerings, we can help with that.
Exactly.
Instead of, I think what I've heard from other people, what they don't like is, hey, we have this product and we'll fit it in to your organization no matter what. And it's just like, well, your product may not be providing value, and that's probably the only reason I'm going to, make a deal here.
Right.
So the value, I like how you said, like, the value has to come first. Then we talk about, basically the execution. How do we productize that? How do we put together an offering for you?
Absolutely. And can I add something else
Yeah.
as well? I think it's also important, and this was another point that they stressed throughout the course, is that you have to put yourself in the shoes of the client. Put yourself in the shoes of the customer. How would you want to be approached? How would you want to be treated? How would you want things explained to you? And just keeping that mindset helps the dynamic of me as I don't want to say salesperson, I'll say value provider.
Value, I like that.
With the client. How can that meet to where we're together as one, so we can work together and do what needs to be done to help the company move forward. So having that mindset is just really, really big.
Yeah, I like that, value provider. It feels a lot more relational. Feels a lot more like you and that client. We're working together as a team to collaborate on something.
Absolutely.
Andre, I know you mentioned I know you mentioned demos that you had to do, and also it says in your bio that you've done a lot of presentations. What goes in, I guess, in your mind, what goes into presenting, I guess, compelling product demos for like different clients? I know it says like you've spoken at trainings, conferences, seminars,
Mhm.
and the like. Is it like, basically tell me what your process is? Like, is it the same when you're presenting in front of a training versus seminar or conference? Like, or do you have to switch up your presentation style?
It's a good question. So it's a little bit of both. There's a framework that I do that I work from when I am presenting to customers or clients. Um, but at the same time, and this comes from experience,
Right.
you have to be able to adapt and be flexible in any scenario because you're just like you and I are different people,
Yeah.
right? We're not the same person. You're Devin Price. I'm Andre Poole. And what I would offer to an Andre Poole would be different from what I would offer to a Devin Price.
Yeah.
So it's the same concept when you're in front of people. You have to be mindful of your target audience and customize your demonstration to that particular audience. So, for example, when I was working at the nonprofit organization that I had to create their online viewing experience from scratch.
Mm.
This was because of COVID, right?
Right.
Many companies were in person and then they had to move to online.
Yep.
And this particular nonprofit organization didn't know how to navigate that. So I had to walk them through how to use Zoom, how to
Mm.
use PowerPoint, how to use other online products and services to better their company and keep the company moving forward so they can stay profitable. And so I had to do multiple demonstrations to their staff and also to their customers so they can understand, listen, this is what you do here. This is how you can still continue to do what you're doing and even do it better. You can save time, you can save money. And they loved it. So that would be how I would say doing all of that has worked for different companies, different clients in their space, going from getting to know that person to understanding your target audience to making sure you provide value.
Yeah, and I was thinking as you were saying that about, especially when you're presenting to not only the staff, and I guess an example when you're presenting to the client, but you also got the opportunity to present to the user, right? Because
Correct.
usually when you're whatever product, it's obviously you're selling to the client. We're going to use this, but
Yeah.
the reason why we're buying this is because we think it's going to be of value to our users.
Exactly.
So not only did you get to present to the client, but you also got to present to the users, who I'm sure had different objections as well. Oh, I've been doing this the same way, or I like this, and people are afraid of change. And it's like, well, wait a minute, I can provide value. I'll make it easier. Times are different now.
Exactly.
We unfortunately can't do what you're used to, but I can still provide value to you if you give me a chance to show you in a different way.
Exactly. Exactly. There was even a time where I had an objection that said, Andre, I don't think this is going to work. I can't
Yep.
do the conferences the way I used to.
Yep.
We need multiple rooms for multiple people to do these conferences. I said, well, when you have the multiple rooms, I assume you're talking about different subjects in those rooms, correct? They said, yes. I said, okay. And you need multiple teachers to be able to communicate amongst all of the teachers whenever you need to. Is that right? They said, yes. I said, well, guess what? Zoom actually has a feature that you can use called breakout rooms. And I was able to help them understand you can have not only when you go to a hotel, there's normally a limited amount of rooms that you have to pay for, right? I said, well, Zoom, what if I told you could have 4 rooms, 10 rooms, 15 rooms, all for the same price? And they looked at me crazy, and I showed them how to do that.
Then you got them.
They were hooked. They were hooked at that point. So there's definitely other ways that you can accomplish the same thing and be more cost effective.
Yeah, I like it. Again, we go value, then we go offering. So Andre, another thing that I saw in your LinkedIn that I liked in your headline is says that you are you help organizations build long-term relationships with clients.
Yes.
And I think you also kind of touched on that a little bit earlier. I guess what's kind of the secret sauce for, I guess, long-term relationships? I know you said trust. Is there anything else that like really is important in that relationship building process?
I believe understanding that you're not just selling a product. I believe that because we get so caught up in the word sales, we think of the product. This is a product. This is what I have.
Right.
This is how much it costs. Do you want it?
Right.
And it's not that simple, because then you're going to have someone who may buy the product, but they'll cancel it 2 or 3 months later, and then you wonder why you're having retention issues. So I'm really big on making sure that when my client buys a product, they not only love the product, but they love the person who's giving them the product. So I think it's key to understand it's not just the product you're selling. The secret sauce is understanding that you're also selling yourself. And that's very key within the organization, because people do business with people.
Right.
They don't do business with products.
Right.
So you have to understand, yes, you have to, I believe in having a great product. I believe it's key, but more than that, you're selling yourself. Are you willing to go the long haul with that customer? If they have questions a month from now, 3 months from now,
After it's bought.
After it's bought,
Right.
Are you willing to pick up the phone and answer it? It doesn't matter how much time it's going to take out of your day. Are you willing to do the back end stuff later after the product has already been purchased? And from doing that, that's how I've been able to be successful in sales, because those customers, they're still testing me after they bought the product to see if I'm going to deliver on what I've already told them. And here's the great part.
Yeah.
When, not if I deliver. I'm going to brag on myself for a minute.
There you go.
It's not if I deliver, but when I deliver, they then refer other businesses to me.
Right.
So now my sales pipeline has grown without me having, with me doing work from one client. So I believe that's the secret sauce, understanding you're selling yourself and recognizing that one customer is actually 3 or 4 or 5, because they're going to bring their friends. Think of a great movie you saw. What was the last great movie you saw?
I'm gonna go with Black Panther, the newest one.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Now, how many people did you tell about it?
I told a lot.
That's my point. Having a great product is great, but when you have something or something or someone that delivers something great, you're going to tell everyone about it. So it's the same concept.
Yeah, and I can speak from experience with tech and cybersecurity of, I think people like that, especially in cybersecurity, are naturally, I think, distrustful. And so I think when they're trying to figure out, hey, here's the value I need, are there any products or offerings that can fit that value? Most of the time, they're going to go talk to, their friends in the industry or colleagues that they know. Hey, what are you using? Does it work for you? And then they'll probably reach out to someone like you of, hey, just so that everything I heard already, just show me. So it's like, that doing what you said, doing right by one customer, that customer is probably going to go tell their colleagues. And they're like, oh, okay, well, we'll check them out. Cause you seem to vouch for them.
Absolutely.
So I think I got a couple more here before we wrap up here, Andre.
Sure.
So just to be clear, so are you actively applying for roles at this moment for sales engineer, or are you like casually browsing? Like what's your strategy there right now?
I'm actively applying.
Okay.
Actively applying right now for sales engineer roles. The name of the role kind of varies.
Or solutions engineer,
company. Yeah, solutions engineer, solutions consultant, pre-sales, solution. I am actively hiring. Actively applying. Yeah.
Got you. So, especially I think with COVID, I know that's made a lot of employees, I think, really focus in on what really matters to them, with the employer and with the job. What I would say are those, I guess, top 2 or 3 things that you're looking for, like an employer that really matter to you?
Top 2 things that I'm looking for from an employer that really matter to me. One I would say is someone that believes in me, that can really understand. Yes, I'm someone that's coming into this tech space as a sales engineer, but I am someone who is hungry.
Yeah.
And I think that's really key to understand. I'm passionate and I'm hungry and I'm ready to dive in. I'm ready to learn and I'm ready to, I mean, for whichever tech company is hearing this, I'm ready to become your number one sales engineer. Every company I've worked for, and this is not an exaggeration.
No, you said it before. You've
Is,
already done it.
yeah, this isn't bragging. This is fact. Every company I've worked for, I have become the number one adjuster, number one salesperson, number one banker, number one in product and services, number one in customers, whatever it is, I'm going to be number one as a sales engineer. Just a matter of time of which tech company is willing to be a part of that. And I would probably say the second thing that is really important to me is culture.
Yeah.
I'm really big on making sure that whatever culture I'm in, and I want to add with that the work-life balance.
Yeah.
Okay. I really want to be in a positive environment, a place that loves the people that they're working with, and also cares about the employees that they have. Yes, I'm really big on caring about the client, making sure they're taken care of, which terms I call that are external clients.
Mm-hmm.
But you also have your internal clients, which are your employees.
Yeah.
And I believe that you have to take care of them just as much as you do your clients, because a happy employee is a happy client.
Yeah.
Right. If you take care of them, making sure they're good with their work-life balance, taking care of clients will be a lot easier. So I believe that's very key for me.
All right. Well said. So Andre, for any prospective employers, where can they find you if they want to inquire about a particular role that they think you might be a good fit for?
Awesome. They can find me on LinkedIn, www.linkedin.com/IN/Sylvester Andre.
Sylvester Andre.
Sylvester okay. Andre. Yes, Sylvester is my first name. Whole name is Sylvester Andre Poole III.
Nice.
But I'm used to going by Andre, so you'll find me there. Or you can email me at sylvester.andre.poole@gmail.com.
Okay. Listen, Andre, as we wrap up, is there anything else you wanted to add before we ended that we didn't get to cover?
Just that I'm excited. I do want to reiterate that I'm hungry for this. I'm passionate for tech. I love tech. And as much as I love where I work right now, I really believe tech is more aligned with the goals that I have in the future. I'm very ambitious. And I just want to add that me getting in tech will allow me to progress my ambitious goals that I have. For example, I actually want to start a nonprofit organization that helps people who are struggling with, in particular, foreclosures and evictions.
Okay.
And I also want to start a counseling and mentoring group for newlywed couples.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I can build my career in the tech space, I can have the resources that I need to do those ambitious goals that I would like to do to help and serve other people.
I love it. Providing value from start to finish.
Absolutely.
Well, Andre, thanks so much for coming on the show. I look forward to hearing news about your future sales engineer jobs and also those couple of other passions that getting into tech will help you drive.
Absolutely.
For everyone else, thanks so much for watching. Till next time.